when you're in pain, soothing as a springtime rain, to have a friend right in your corner. Your heart will feel a little warmer. Tender loving care, tender loving care. Each warm and friendly touch lets someone know you care so much. Tender loving care, tender loving care.
Good evening and welcome to Tender Loving Care. I'm Carol Long and I'm filling in for Dr. Greenbrier Allman, who is getting acquainted with a new granddaughter. So we wish them much love and hope they have a good time getting acquainted, and Dr. Allman will be back soon. We're talking the next few weeks and the past few weeks, we've been talking about tender loving care and how the volunteer force in our community makes a difference in other people's lives. And that's a part of tender loving care. You do things because you want to help somebody else. So this evening I have a lady that has an unusual type. It's not a business, it's an agency. This is Linda Fiola, and she is the director at Literacy Volunteers. And I think that's something that's very important. And I wanted Linda here to tell you how you can be a part of Literacy Volunteers and what the actual project is all about. So Linda, let's talk a little bit. First of all, where are you located?
We're located on 34 Franklin Street in St. Mary's Hall. We are totally non-denominational, but our space is located by the Catholic Church.
Okay. And do you have a staff that works there through the week, or you are all volunteers?
We're pretty much all volunteers. Yeah. I do have a full-time Vista, and I have 2 Wesleyan Work Scholar students that work with us 6 hours a week each. But other than that, everyone there is a volunteer.
Now, for those folks that are watching and they don't know much about literacy, we know it's reading and writing and being able to function in the world of today. A lot of it's technology, but the fact that some people don't know how to read. And I think that's, a lot of people may not know that, but it's a fact.
It is, and 1 in 5 adults in Upshur County reads below the 4th grade level. And, don't panic, but that's no different than anywhere else. In fact, we're a lot better off than a lot of areas in our state and the country. So that's just about an average number. We're at 19%.
And that's one of the most important things, I think, when you have little ones, is to teach them how to read. And some folks maybe have not had that special time given to them by parents, grandparents, or whoever, and they have not learned to read like they should. And back when we were growing up, maybe some of our grandparents weren't even able to read. And you wonder how they got through and how they did day-to-day living without being able to read recipes and read the newspaper and read documents and that kind of thing.
These are a lot of things that we work on at the center, too. We do the reading classes, but we also work a lot with, if they want to learn to read a recipe, if they want to learn to read to their children, get their driver's license or commercial driver's license, things like that. So since all of our students are adults, you're required to be out of school in order to come to the literacy program. So
are some of these folks maybe folks who have quit school at a younger age, or they just have trouble reading?
Both.
Okay.
Over half of our students have a high school diploma, but a lot do not, too. They come from all walks of life, and it might be your neighbor, it might be someone that's in your church, and you just don't think about it. And we work a lot with, helping them read a menu, because our students will go, to Hardee's, Wendy's, McDonald's, any of the fast food restaurants, and order, say, a number 2 or a number 5, because they know that that's something that, it was okay by trial and error, they like that, and if they have $3 or $5, they have enough to pay for it, because they can't read the menu.
Now, let me ask you this question. It might be something that doesn't make any sense, but you were talking about ordering something. So folks sometimes know their numbers in order to pay bills or whatever. They know the monetary value of $1 or how to make change, that kind of thing, but they don't understand how to read to tell you what it's all about.
Sometime, and we do work with math,
Okay.
but a lot of times they don't know money, and they'll just hand you a $5 bill or a $10 bill and hope the person's honest enough to give them back the right change. Some of our students have checking accounts and keep their checking accounts fine. Others don't. They pay everything by cash or money order.
Oh, it doesn't seem possible in today's age with all the technology and everything that we have that we would have folks who don't know how to read. I know, do you work with, I'm asking you questions because I don't know a whole lot about how it works there. But what about things like dyslexia? If people have problems reading because they can't read the words and the letters correctly, do you help those folks, or do you get them in programs that will help them?
We try to help them. We do not have specially trained people in things like that, but we do have some retired school teachers. We have housewives. We have retired librarians. From all walks of life are our tutors, and they all have different strategies in teaching. When you come, we do some general intake of information and see where your skills do lie. And we also, give you a tutor training book, and we do have classes for new tutors so they are more aware of what can be done to help these. A lot of our students also have learning deficit disorders, things like this, and some just have never had a chance.
I would say that this is a very rewarding project for a tutor.
It is, and our tutors, usually when they come, they will stay for a good while.
I have a friend of mine that I think she's worked as a tutor for a number of years, and she just loves it. She said that's one thing that she feels like if she can get someone into reading, that she has accomplished something.
Right, and our youngest student is probably 18 now, and our oldest is 79. So you're never too old to learn, and it's very rewarding for the tutor, but it's also for the student. We've had students who have come and they want to learn to read to their children. Well, we have a library through various grants in the community and different funding we have received, and we have a children's section. So what the tutor will often do is work with that student at our center one-on-one, and they will memorize, learn to read the children's books, take a couple home every week, and they're reading to their children.
Oh, that's awesome.
So mom or dad now can read, and they are learning to read.
So about how many tutors do you have with literacy?
We have 13 tutors right now and 12 students, 14-member board of directors, and an auxiliary group we put together last year to help with special projects of 24 members.
Okay, what are some of the projects the special projects that you do to raise money? Because you need money for book. Do you get books? You have to. Well, I'll go back. What do you have your fundraisers? How do you use that money? In what capacity?
Well, our fundraising is done to keep the doors open.
Okay.
We basically get no type of funding at all. We are not funded by the Board of Education, anyone like that, or the government.
Okay.
We do receive money locally a little bit. We get a United Way stipend. We get some money from Rotary. We rely basically off of donations from our community. We can get grants occasionally, but a lot of time the grants want to give you money for items, like a new computer or books or something specific, but not really to keep the doors open, because with anything, it takes money to keep your doors open.
That's true.
We are very, very fortunate. We live there rent and utility free by the Catholic Church.
So they're a sponsor, and I guess you could call them a sponsor since they help you with your facility.
Right, and I've been there going on 14 years, and we've been there ever since I've been there. So, it's a great relationship. We're totally non-denominational, but it is rent and utility free. And
well, that's a big help.
It is, and it's a place for our students to come, because a lot of areas around us, even surrounding counties, have such a problem keeping their doors of their literacy programs open, because if they meet in libraries or the back of City Hall or going to people's homes, you don't have any consistency, and you don't have anywhere to keep your teaching supplies,
True.
to have meetings. So everyone meets at our literacy center. That way we don't have to worry about children interfering or, the husband's home laying on the couch, the TV is blaring, whatever it may be. But that way, they have a room. We have 4 classrooms that we can use in the house.
And that's where the tutoring is done.
And that's where it's all done.
Okay. And if somebody's watching and they think, I might like to do that, to become a tutor and help somebody, what are some of the guidelines? What are some of the things that you might tell our viewers that might give them an idea of what would be expected of them?
Well, you need to have either a GED or a high school diploma. That is required. But what's expected is just to be able to want to give back, the willingness to help people, and volunteer probably 2 hours a week, maybe a little more. Usually our student tutor teams meet 1 to 2 hours a week, depending on if they meet 1 day or 2 days. And it all depends on what the student's attention span is. Because if the student has a very short attention span, they may only meet for 45 minutes or an hour. You need to spend a little bit of time preparing,
Getting used to the person you're going to work with.
Yes, definitely. And we try to match personalities and people that we think will work well together.
That's neat. And so the volunteers, do they ever get together? And the tutors, do they ever do anything as a group that helps the literacy program?
They do, and even with our board, we have 100% board participation in all of our fundraising events. We have tutor participation, and we have 2 book sales a year, one in the spring, one in the fall. The one we just had in October is the best we've ever done.
Oh, my goodness. It would take you a week to go through all those books that you
We have
had.
several thousand.
Yeah. And who puts those out?
The tutors, the auxiliary members, board members, students help out also, and just various members of our community chip in and help at special times.
The last one was at the Catholic Church. Is that
It
usually
was.
where you have it?
We do. We have our book sales there, and then we have a yard sale in
I
May.
like the yard sale. That's always nice.
It is, and we have it at the Episcopal Church. We also have a Christmas tree raffle, which is going on right now.
Oh, tell us about that.
Well, it's a beautiful 6-foot pre-lit tree. It's kind of slim. It's not huge for your room. And some of our auxiliary group members got together and made some of the decorations. Some of the people that had worked at the Work Adjustment Center before hand-painted candy canes, like peppermint candies. They're wrapped in plastic. It's a red and white theme whimsical tree, and it has red and white bows out of the netting on it. It's all pre-lit, comes with a tree skirt.
Is it on display someplace?
It is. It is at Ameriprise Financial at Lance Corey's.
And that's on Main
It's on
Street?
Main Street. It's across the street from First Community Bank and Thompson's Pharmacy.
Oh, okay. It's sort of on the corner right by the parking lot for First Community Bank?
Yes,
okay.
it is. And
there's a nice window there. I
There
think
is.
I might have seen it and didn't know that's what it was.
and that's our tree. It's there usually every year, and tickets are $1 each or 6 for $5.
And where can a person get a ticket?
They can call the Literacy Center or any board member, tutor, student, or they can pick up tickets even at Ameriprise Financial.
Okay.
They're $1 each or 6 for $5.
And you could win your Christmas tree.
The drawing is held every year the day after Thanksgiving, and it's totally decorated. You pick it up and it's ready to go.
Is it one that's, how tall would you say
It's
it is?
6 foot.
A 6-foot tree. Well, that would fit in most everybody's
It
living
does,
room.
yes. We try to keep them reasonable size.
And you could win your tree for $1. How about that?
Yes.
And do you have any other fundraisers going on?
The two book sales, the yard sale, and the tree are the main ones.
Okay.
Now, we do have other things throughout the year, but we try not to bother people a lot, asking for donations. We do an end-of-the-year ask campaign, which has been very good to us, asking community members to donate to our program. And I always kind of laugh and say, if everybody would donate just $1, we would be rich.
Wouldn't that be nice for a lot of the different projects? Sometimes you don't have a lot of money, but $1 makes a difference.
It makes a
if
huge
10, 15,
difference.
20 people will each give $1, then you've got something going there.
We would, and it's so important. And we, like I say, we have no funding. Real basic funding we don't have. We get money from a couple local foundations by writing a grant. So that's not guaranteed either. But we put the pennies to the best possible use.
Now, I know you have in the past. I don't know what the plan is this year, but are your volunteers and your tutors going to be doing anything with the Christmas store?
We probably will. Various ones of us work with it. And the children's books from the book sale that do not sell, we donate a lot of those. Not quite
Okay.
all, because we never know how many we're going to
Right.
get in the next year for this sale, but we donate the majority of them. And my Vista and myself will work at the Christmas store the whole week.
I know you've had lots of books that the children get a book free, so it's a way to give back again. If you've got lots of books at your house, will you take those?
Oh, we certainly do. We collect books all year for the book sale. We do not take encyclopedias, magazines, or Reader's Digest condensed books.
Okay.
But with the books for the Christmas store, we've had children receive as high as 6 to 8 books.
If you have a lot of books, and that's another thing, you can donate books and I think puzzles, games, that kind of thing.
Right.
But yours is mainly books.
Yes, ours is books for the book sale.
And any age?
Yes, any age books, and we even like the large print books. Those come in handy too.
Oh, I bet they would. For
Yes.
some that have trouble reading and maybe can't see the print and the fine print. But so if you're at home and you have some books and you don't know what to do with them, who can they call?
They can call the Literacy Center, and the number there is 472-2343, and we will pick up within a reasonable distance, or they can drop them off at the center, and we do collect all year, and then we store them upstairs at First Community Bank, and then before the sales, we spend about a month sorting all the books.
That just amazes me when I come to that book sale. And you have them all organized by author. Some of them are by, if it's a religious book or a novel, or sometimes by the authors.
We do, the ones, especially the authors that are very popular, Danielle Steele, Nora Roberts, John Grisham, ones like that. But then we also, all the fiction and novels, we split up by alphabet, like the A authors, B authors, and like that. So at least it is easier that way to find them. And like you say, the cookbooks, the children's
Everything.
books, it is.
I mean, I've found books have recipes, gardening,
Religion, you name
yeah.
it, and we have it.
and some of them are brand new books.
Yes, some of them are.
People will read a book and they just don't want to keep it, so they can pass. And this is a wonderful way to pass it on. Not only can you have it for your book sale, but do you use some of these books for the tutors to work with the different folks that are learning to read?
Occasionally we do. A lot of times, though, with low-level readers, you need high-interest books at low reading levels.
Okay, do you have to purchase those? Or
Yes, we do.
Okay.
But we also have our training manuals that we use. We use the Challenger and Law Box series, and those are designed especially for adult students, because our students who are adults, to get a low-level book, they do not want to hear a childish story. They want to
Right.
hear adult content.
So that's probably something that folks would not have at home.
No,
so
you
those
usually
are
don't.
But you would take donations to help buy those books, wouldn't you?
Oh, we certainly would. And they're very expensive to buy.
Are they?
They are. They have to be special ordered, and they're very expensive.
So you will take books. You will certainly have room for more tutors, right?
We always are looking for tutors and auxiliary members. And I say it's fun at our center, Carol, because everybody gets along. Everyone. In the 13 years I've been there, I've never had any, she said this or he said that or they wouldn't do this. Everybody gets along and enjoys and has a good time working. And we need people to stuff envelopes, to fold newsletters. We send out quarterly newsletters. And if you're someone out there who wants to be on our newsletter database, call us and let us know, and we would be happy to do that. It updates you on everything we have going on at the center, what our students are doing, that type of information.
I think it's important that we talk about some of these help agencies, because in the program that I talk with, the Parish House, our communities would suffer really drastically if we did not have folks that step out and help. Volunteers, our volunteer force is so helpful in many, many ways, in many organizations, and I just can't say enough about what it's like to volunteer and make a difference in someone else's life. And I can't imagine how rewarding it would be to be a tutor and watch somebody grow and their ability to be able to sit and read and understand. It would be, I think, just almost like a light bulb going off. This is just awesome.
We had a gentleman in our center. He's no longer there now. And he and a tutor worked together for at least 10 years. When he came in, his business where he was working brought him because they did not realize he could not read when they hired him. And they worked diligently for 10 years, and they used what was called the Wilson Reading Program, which through donations we purchased. And it's a little different type of program with lots of special training, but he advanced to the 12th grade level from a non-reader.
That's awesome. Do you have a graduation for them?
No, we really don't. And our students come and go. Okay. And, some may stay the 10 years, 4 years, or 6 months, depending on what's going on in their life and, what obstacles they're up against. One of our main problems is students having the gas money to get to the center.
So is that something that if there's a person watching and they would like to help with gas money, can you take that as a donation?
Oh, we certainly could, yes. And we have done programs like that where we would give them a stipend. It was all done on a reimbursable basis. We wouldn't just hand them $5 and say, come to literacy. But after they had been there, say, the month of September, it was based on how many miles they drove and how many times they came. And it was across the board for everyone, depending on their mileage. And with that money, then if they came September on their own, they had gas money for the month of October. At the end of October, we would do the same thing. Then they would have gas money for November.
That's awesome. If there's somebody watching on Channel 3 this evening and they're really struggling and trying to do the very best they can and they're having a real struggle with their reading capabilities, what can they do? How can they get in your program?
What they need to do is they need to call us, not have someone else call us, but because we want them to make that first step. And it's very, very hard to admit you can't read when
I'm
everyone
sure
around you thinks you can, because they do very well in covering
That's right.
it up.
I know of someone in the past that I was just amazed that person did not know how to read and functioned as well as they did. Because in today's world, I just don't know how they can without all the technology knowledge that we have, and about everything is computer oriented anymore. So do you help them on computer as well?
We do. We have computer class twice a week now.
Okay.
And we have laptops that we receive through a grant. And in the past, we were able to give not a new, but a used computer to all of our computer students. Now, that's not something we're doing now, but we do have the laptops, and they meet in a group of 2 or 3. All the tutoring is done individually, one-on-one, confidentially, but the computer class is in groups of 2 or 3. And a while back, we had, it's been a couple years now, we had a large grant from EQT, which is Equitable Gas, and through that money, it was written where our students would explore West Virginia, because you would be surprised how many of our students have never gone outside of Buchanan or Upshur County because they don't drive, or they don't have the money to, or they can't read the signs.
Right.
It's very difficult. And we took our students on 32 outings throughout the state. We spent some nights, in different resorts. We were at Blennerhassett. We went to Canaan Valley, Blackwater Falls. It's endless, the places we went. We went to plays. We went to basketball games. Some of them was the first time they'd ever been to a basketball or a football game.
Oh, that's awesome.
Things that we just take for granted.
Right.
And we always, when we did this grant, was have a good meal. And we ate at all the different ethnic restaurants in Buchanan or wherever we happened to be. We tried Chinese, Mexican, Italian. And that way, it was something they hadn't tried. And we would practice reading the menus before we went. And that way, they were a little more able to read the menu when they got there.
So we're almost at the end of our time. And I want you to just look at the television and talk to the folks out there and invite them for whatever need that you have for literacy volunteers. And it is an important part of our society is being able to read. And if you're having difficulty with that, you can get into the literacy volunteers. If you have just this little gut feeling, that's something I would like to do is to help somebody learn how to read, they can call you.
Yes, please call the Literacy Center at 472-2343. And we always need volunteers to help with all kind of things like the book sale, the yard sale, stuffing envelopes, whatever it may be. And we can always use tutors, and it's not a lot of time. It's 2 or 3 hours a week at the most, and the gratification that you will get by giving back to individuals within your own community is just unbelievable.
Making a difference in someone else's life.
It
That's
is.
what it's all about.
It truly is.
And a volunteer can do that. If you can make the difference in one person's life, that's very important.
And it costs you nothing to volunteer. I mean, none of our tutors or students pay for anything to come to the center. It's all provided through the money that we have donated to the program. So, don't feel like, well, I don't have the money to come or it's going to cost me this. Other than your gas money,
Right.
it is totally free of charge and you're always welcome.
And you're located again where?
34 Franklin Street.
And that's right downtown almost.
It's right downtown. It's across the street from the Catholic Church.
If you know where the
parking lot.
Catholic Church is, you should be able to find it. There's a sign there.
There is. There's a sign out front. It says St. Mary's Hall and Literacy Volunteers.
And you're open when?
Monday through Friday from 8 to 4.
From 8 to 4. So that's a pretty good day.
It is.
Each day.
It is.
All right, Linda, thank you so much for coming and talking about literacy. We have been talking a lot about our country and all the different things that we have been given. And I found something that Benjamin Franklin wrote, and I thought it was it's very good for right now in this time that we're living. The longer I live, the more convincing proofs I see of this truth, that God governs in the affairs of man, and if a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, is it probable that an empire can rise without his aid? And I think they're talking about God right there, and I think that's a good way to close for this evening. If you're out there and you have a need, Literacy Volunteers is here to help you learn how to read. If you're out there and you'd like to do something to make a difference in the life of someone else, tutoring is a really good way to do that. So I would encourage you to get in touch with Linda. Until next week, this is Tender Loving Care. I'm Carol Long, and thank you for joining us.
Stories of a West Virginia Doctor, written by Dr. Harold D. Allman. A collection of 55 short stories about his experience as a small-town doctor in central West Virginia. And Tender Loving Care, Stories from a West Virginia Doctor, Volume 2, written by Dr. Greenbrier Allman, using videotapes to write 70 additional stories of his father's very colorful life as a small-town doctor. They can be found for purchase at Amazon.com and most local bookstores. Tune into Channel 3 Buckhannon for Tender Loving Care with Dr. Greenbrier Allman, where he talks about the connection between Christianity and medicine.